Transition, if you know how to do it and do it efficiently and properly, it can change the way that you see the court and how you're going to break down your opponent. I can tell you from my personal experiences that if I didn't move forward to the net, I wasn't going to beat certain players on the ATP Tour. I just could not beat these guys from the baseline. So when I started moving forward, when I started serving and volleying, taking their second serve and coming in, closing the net, having shorter points, I was able to actually start beating some of these guys. And for me, they were usually some a little bit of the smaller kind of grinder type players that I just couldn't hit through for 2 to 3 sets, for 3 hours. I just couldn't go through them. So when I started transitioning, I actually started beating some of these guys, and I started thinking to myself, why didn't I think of this earlier? So
we're going to concentrate on the transition game going forward. So this becomes a very, very important part of your professional career. During the younger stage, many juniors get away with it, but during the pro stage, this basically becomes your identity. The ability to make the transition forward, if it's a short ball or hit a short ball, get in it and make a good volley. So this is basically the opportunity for you to put away the short, easier ball. So it's transition going forward or get into net for a volley. Usually what many coaches do, they teach the kids to volley and they also teach the kid ground strokes. But they never ever teach a kid the transition from the ground strokes into the volley. So it's 3 different stages. The ground strokes, when and how and why you're going to go into the approach, in this case, the approach shot. So the transition through the approach shot. It could be a drive volley and then going into the net. So this is an exercise that the first day I walked in the court with Corey, I had it in mind we were going to do this because I knew Corey would have been a very strong, aggressive girl. So this offensive part of her game was practiced from day one. But we used to do it with a drive volley. So
transition play is all about taking time away from your opponent. So when someone goes really high and heavy or high and soft, right, rolling the ball, you gotta be able to take the ball on the rise, take it early. You gotta take it in the proper strike zone. You don't wanna take it here. You don't wanna take it at your head. For me, at the shoulder level was the best contact point to go forward, take it on the rise, move into the net, knock a volley off or finish the point, just with a great solid shot on a target where your opponent can't track it down or maybe they miss the passing shot.
We want to get our opponents in a difficult situation, approach the net in a kind of stress-free way, and then have a volley, a stress-free volley that we're already pre-programmed to hit. In tennis, we always want to have a couple options, and that's the beauty of decision-making and of tennis, is it's not checkers, it's chess. So there are other options, which we can also talk about, but we want to kind of get this basic pattern of play, this basic strategy learned, so that now we can evolve into other options to make ourselves, a more well-rounded player. But basically, it's a 3-shot pattern that we can make into a longer pattern, like I've said, and use in different scenarios. Basically, what we want to do is we want to hit an aggressive shot to our opponent's forehand side. Aggressive meaning we're either going to take them off the court by angling it, or we're going to try to hit it super deep. So we're either going to get our opponents running over here or running back.
On this serve here, I'm going to go down the tee on the yellow cone. I'm going to try to stretch out my opponent and close hard to the net. And the reason why I'm going down the tee as opposed to going wide is because if I go wide, now I open up all the angles for the returner. So I don't want that. So if I go down the tee, most likely the return is going to come maybe towards the middle or maybe towards my backhand volley. right there. So one of the more important things also is how tight am I getting to the net, right? So my goal is to hit the first volley at the service line, or if I can even get even closer to the net to hit the volley. That's super, super important. The further back you volley, as we all know, the tougher it is to volley. So now I'm gonna go into the body on the red cone. I'm basically aiming for the middle of the box. This is a great serve where if you see your opponent and they're close to the baseline, so if you can jam them, that would be a great serve. You see a lot of players, and when they extend their arms, they return really well. So go body, huh? Especially when you're serving and volleying. It's a great play.